I want you to think or rethink your relationship with collaboration. Collaboration is a meeting of strengths. It's a meeting of the best of what I have to offer. Hi, dreamers. Hey, sis. This is going to be the final Dear Little Sis episode for season 2. And I'm really excited about this one because I think it is a combination of places that my heart has gone as it relates to especially younger women over the course of this year and part of last year too. This month we're talking about efficiency versus excellence. But I think, especially as a young woman, there is a constant war going on of the sequencing of those things. And I'm going to take some time to talk about how it shows up in business, but I really wanted to dedicate some time to talk about how you can consider efficiency versus excellence in your journey as a woman. In my own life, it is something that I have struggled with, though I didn't know to call it that. And I think there were times where I struggled, especially with the efficiency piece, and caused myself a lot of unnecessary heartache. So if I am going to recap what we've talked about so far, we had one episode where we discussed excellence, one episode where we talked about efficiency. And keeping in mind that excellence is about continuous improvement, collaboration, refinement, but efficiency deals a lot more with resource optimization and elimination and reduction of waste, errors, etc. So a lot of us love efficiency. We want to get stuff done. We want to hit the goals. We want to do all the things. We want to check off all the boxes. But we need a lot more excellence than we assume. And I am a kid. I think I've mentioned before that I grew up going to magnet schools. What up, though, for my Detroiters who might listen to this? I'm a Bates brat, so I'm a proud graduate of Bates Academy, which was a K through 8 school. And then I went to this very rigorous high school called Renaissance in Detroit. And then I went to Michigan for undergrad. And University of Michigan, especially the Ann Arbor campus, was very rigorous, very intense. So for the first 20-something years of my life, it was nonstop. Boom, 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 boom. Accomplish, accomplish, achieve, achieve, achieve. And you get all of these markers and milestones and grades and notifications that let you know, are you achieving? And that is efficiency at its finest. The goal is to get you all the skills that you need, all of the lessons that you need, all of the knowledge you need, all the connections as quickly as possible so that you can begin getting a return on that investment ASAP. But the problem with that is that in all of my getting, I did not necessarily get and understand it. And I also did not spend a lot of time focusing on the relationships that I would need to thrive. This is not uncommon, especially for many Black women. So for a lot, and I had this conversation last year. I was out of town for a conference and ended up meeting up with somebody that I went to school with in Detroit. And they are extremely accomplished, an amazing person. But we both said the same thing, like, child, they had us getting stuff done, but we did not learn to thrive in relationships with people. And this actually, now that I think about it, isn't even, I'll say isn't as much gender specific. I think the girls got it a little bit worse than the boys, but a lot of us still weren't married, didn't have kids. Like a lot of us didn't really start families until we were like mid to late 30s because the focus was on getting stuff done, being about your business, getting the next degree, getting the next job, buying the house, doing all the things, traveling, getting the accomplishments. And that stuff is very important. But I also want you to be mindful about the power of collaboration and the power of refinement along the way. So collaboration is not just romantic. There's so much noise on social media right now about all the women, y'all just gonna be stuck with cats. By the way, loneliness is a universal, as far as gender is concerned, a universal phenomenon right now. It is considered probably one of the biggest sociological threats of our time. And so it's not just women who are dealing with this, it's everybody who is struggling to build meaningful relationships. But it shows up differently, I think, for genders just because of the way that we socialize gender, especially in the United States. And so I want you to recognize that collaboration shows up in your romantic life. It shows up in your family relationships. It shows up in the types of friendships you maintain, the mentors, the sponsors, the work relationships and professional relationships you have. It shows up in your spiritual relationships. So who do you allow to be your spiritual guide, your spiritual counselor? It shows up in the way that we build relationships with ourselves. Because some of us aren't even good at collaborating with ourselves, if we're going to be honest. And so I want you to think or rethink your relationship with collaboration. Collaboration is a meeting of strengths. It's a meeting of the best of what I have to offer, merged with the gap that you have, and vice versa. The gap I have and the strength that you have. And somehow together, 1 + 1 should equal 3. So that we become better as a result of this connection and this intermingling. So let's think about that in the different types of relationships that we have. We talk a lot, we hear all the time about cutting friends off, and if people not, and believe me, I'm like the queen of walking away. We'll probably talk about that in another episode, girl, but I'm good for walking away from something that doesn't serve me. But sometimes I was dead wrong. Like there are some friendships that I'm gonna talk about two types. There are friendships where people had to walk away from me because I was not reciprocating the energy that they were putting in. 3 people come to mind, and this is over the course of my life. Actually 4, and this is going all the way back to elementary school. I had a really good friend, and I let peer pressure push me into essentially bullying this young lady. And I remember how hurt she was, and that was the first time that I realized, like, oh my God, I'm treating someone that I care about how people treat me. What the heck? And then it happened again in high school where there was a friendship and I was so focused on these other people that had to perform to get their attention, and it wasn't worth it, instead of cultivating and nurturing this other relationship. And then it happened again in college. It was like 2 people in college that I could think of. And it's happened before in other relationships, even in my 20s and in my early 30s in particular. So I've had to learn, like by the time I got to my mid 30s, to focus on the relationships that focus on me. And that don't mean that people are perfect, because you ain't perfect. But it does mean that you recognize who are the people who are willing to pour into me. And it could be as simple as you don't always have to be the first person to call. It could be as simple as if they come over to chill, they always got something in their hand. So it could be a bottle of wine or something to drink. It could be board games, something, but they never show up empty-handed. It could be that they remember your birthday. It could be that they pay attention to ask you how you doing and just check in on you sometimes. Those mutually beneficial relationships are worth the collaboration. It's worth the investment of time and energy and resources. Another relationship I want you to think about is this spiritual side. Now, this is a big one because we done hit a point, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Maybe it's always been going on and I just didn't know it. But we done hit a point where it's getting very weird. It's getting weird, in the words of Nene Links. It's getting weird out here spiritually. We got a lot of stuff that people mixing up and making up, and it's getting weird. Okay, now, full transparency. I'm a Christian. I would consider myself a devout Christian, but I'm a Christian, and so that is the spiritual lens through which I look at things. But regardless of what your religion is, most of us are following people who we do not know or trust. All these folks who you be watching on YouTube, whether it's you watching sermons, tarot card readings, angel messages, rabbi, whoever, I don't care who it is. We don't know these folks for real. And a lot of us are completely untethered to something that we can be able to measure, test, and verify. And I want you to be careful with that. Very careful. It's not for this podcast, but one day, I don't know, maybe I'll get on somebody's podcast and talk to y'all about that. Because I got a few stories with that over the course of years. Okay? You want to be very careful about what you opening yourself up to spiritually in the name of charisma, in the name of delusion, in the name of intense emotion, because that's what a lot of this is. Okay, let me call it out, because I've been there. Oh, I want to know, do he like me? Is he thinking about me? So you searching until you can get the answer that feeds into what your ego needs. It don't work like that, baby. I hate my job, so I just need somebody to tell me if I'm gonna get to. It don't work like that. You got to do the work. And a lot of us are getting ourselves in spiritual chaos and destruction. It's almost like spiritual masochism. And I hope I can even say that word. I might have to take that word out. But we getting ourselves into spiritual masochism because we will not settle our emotions. Because we won't deal with our mental health. Half of the stuff that I was following foolish spiritual leaders for was really like, girl, you just need a therapist. Like, if you had a therapist, you'd be straight. You telling all these random people your business and you don't even know them for what? They are not legally bound to keep your confidence. You don't know them. They might be a scammer. I'm telling y'all what I know and what I'd have lived. This is not a hypothesis, baby. So, sis, I'm telling you, that spiritual collaboration, you better watch who you connecting your spirit with. The most important entity that you can connect your spirit with, first and foremost, is you. When I really got a pulse, and again, this is me speaking now from a Christian lens, when I really got a pulse on what are my spiritual gifts, what is my spiritual path, what's my purpose, I didn't need even a third, a fifth of the people I was listening to and paying money to and donating to and hyping up and sharing those. I ain't need them people. I didn't need the people because I was clear on what I had going on, so I could be much more discerning in who I connected with. So make sure that your spiritual collaborations are producing the fruit that you want and that you need to in order to sustain the real life that you're trying to create. I'll move off that. The final collaboration, and y'all knew I was going to make it here, you know, with these boos, okay? The partner that you pick can make or break you. I might have mentioned it before. I don't remember. But the degree that I am finishing now that is like wearing me out to go on and get done, I literally could have finished this degree exactly 10 years ago. I would have been done. I would have been Dr. Kalyn 10 years ago. But I allowed my partner at that time to convince me that I was just doing too much schooling. First of all, that alone should have been red flag. But I was so deeply connected to all of that dysfunction that I was willing to forego what would have been a life-changing decision in a positive way to satisfy that person's need for mediocrity. And some of y'all making the same choice. Some of y'all making the exact same choice. You could be done relocated, got you a much better job, making double the pay. He said he don't think I should move because you could change jobs even in your city. Gone for the promotion. He said that's kind of masculine and I don't be cooking enough at home. No, we have to make better choices. We have to make better choices. And yes, there are going to be times where you have to balance family, whatever family is, because that could be even caring for aging loved ones or caring for siblings with special needs. It's not just kids. But we'll have to balance family with our careers. But sometimes we undermine our own progress by not putting on our thinking caps. If you don't have a single skill set that could pay you at a minimum a livable wage, but really a thriving wage, the last thing on your mind should be laid up under somebody else. Full stop. We could just cut the crap right there. Your main priority needs to be, how can I get a skill set? I might choose to step out of the workforce to be a stay-at-home mom. Believe me, my goal is to be a stay-at-home mom too. But I done set myself up so that I could step away and, number one, have residual income that's paying me regardless of whether or not I'm actively working. But I also done set it up so that when I'm ready to step back in that thing, I ain't gonna be lost in the sauce. And that's important. Because you got women who ain't worked in 10, 20, 30 years who now are having to pop back into the workforce, and they are completely lost and cannot get it together. And it's not always because the man was abusive or their partner was abusive. And no, sometimes it's that your partner passes away. Sometimes your partner gets sick and they develop a long-term or permanent disability. And so you have to work or you have to bring in an income. Stuff happens all the time. Life happens. It could be that y'all had enough money for you and the kids that you wanted to have, or if you didn't want to have kids, but then it might be that all of your parents get sick at the same time. I done seen it. I done heard of it. And so now that's 4 people that y'all got to take care of, extra folks that you weren't expecting. Are you prepared to be able to contribute? Do you have a partner who understands the risks of all of that, who was already preparing? Do you have a partner who is sensitive to your needs? What makes you feel fulfilled? Do you have a partner who is sensitive to your thoughts and your dreams? That's collaboration too. So once you get a handle on that side, and that all is feeding into the excellence side, now we ready to start talking about efficiency. Because when I know, all right, this is where I'm trying to go, this is what excellence looks like for me, this is my ideal life. All right, who is missing, who is there? Okay, now I can start thinking about how can I avoid wasting time and how can I eliminate errors in order to get there faster. So if I stick with the degree fiasco that I was talking about with my doctorate, me wasting, because I don't mind calling it a waste. I could be real with, man, me wasting 10 years to go do this instead of doing it when I should have did it could have cost me, honestly, in the millions. And I'm not even exaggerating. Because I could have been making bank. I'm talking about bank, y'all. And I got to be honest about that. So the new focus on efficiency is I have my goals set up so that when I'm meeting a potential partner, I can say, this is what I have going on. Here are my non-negotiables with that. Can you tell me about yours? And then we can find a way to meet in the middle with the parts that we are willing to negotiate on. Eliminating errors and reducing waste, in large part, especially when you're talking about your relationships, deals with your ability to negotiate. And a lot of us don't negotiate well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way we socialize women to be almost like doormats, to be honest, especially with the people we love. So we don't question, we don't challenge, we don't push back, we don't always advocate well for ourselves. And so we end up wasting a lot of time trying to please other people, when really if we had just stepped up and said, I need this, this is what I want, this is what I'm doing, and I can't negotiate on that, we would avoid messing up a lot of things and wasting a lot of time. So sis, what does efficiency look like for you? Can you be real with yourself about the time you done wasted? This is an important one. Because if you keep going with that, I don't never lose, it's just a lesson. No, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose. I remember when I got divorced, and I remember I had put a status on Facebook. And I was like, how did I put it? I said, I'm not mad about the money. I'm not mad about even the relationships that I lost along the way. I'm mad about the time that I lost because I can't get that back. I needed those years. And I remember the pushback on that. It was crazy how people responded. And that actually stopped me from expressing myself. Well, not it stopped, I let it stop me from expressing myself, which was good and bad. But I didn't talk publicly about it after that. But I was being real. And I still stand by that. My money, I done made money, lost money since that mess. It's like nothing happened. I have made friends, lost friends since then. It is what it is. But that time that I could have been getting stuff done, that one, that's a tough one. And that experience taught me more than anything else. I will never play with my time like that again. Never. So, what's up for you? Excellence versus efficiency. Which one is most important to you at this stage in your life? Which one are you the most ready for? And which one could you use the most support to figure out? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one, sis. All right, bye, dreamers.